Hey there, I'm Further Reading. Today we're going to talk about workflow and making the most out of your manager. In order to make a manager, you have to assign them from the Nobles menu. Then you have to give them an office. An office is just a room with a chair in it. There you go. Now you're a manager.
Wow, I'm Mr. Manager!
The manager's job is to approve any work orders you make. When a new work order comes in, or when it's time to check the criteria of a work order, he has to go back to his office, sit in his chair, and approve it. In order to make a work order, there are two ways to do it. The first way is directly from the work orders menu. You either press O, or you click the picture of the clipboard. Then on the top right, you will see an image of a clipboard with a plus on it, and you can click that. Alternatively, you can open up any workshop, go to work orders, and you can add a work order directly to the shop. The difference in these two cases is in the first case, it'll create a general work order that any shop can do, while in the second case, only that one shop can do the order. This is quite useful when you combine it with the second tab. For example, you'll see in this metal forge, which I've named Master Weapon Forge, I've assigned it specifically to this dwarf. This dwarf is a legendary weaponsmith, which means that they are going to be creating weapons of a higher quality. So I can go to this work orders tab and I can issue work orders that only the shop will do. In fact, I've even set down here general work orders allowed 0, which means the only jobs coming into this forge are going to be weapon jobs that I create up here. Now that you know how to use the menu, let's talk about the options when making an order. This is a big search menu. You can use to search what you want. If you want, you can filter by specific shop. Let's say you want to make iron anvils. I'm going to type in iron anvil and I'm going to click it here to open it up. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see there's now a forge iron anvil task, and it's ready to be checked by our manager. The next thing we want to do is click here to add some criteria to it. So down at the bottom, there'll be some example criteria. So for example, this is going to require 10 iron bars. So might as well add a criteria there that says there must be at least 10 iron bars to actually make these anvils. It's also going to require fuel to make these. So we're going to head and do that one as well. So before it makes 10 anvils, it's going to check to make sure that we have the raw materials to do it. And finally, we can also do it based off of the products down here. So this is saying if there's less than 10 anvils, then do it. Let's say we want it to be a little bit smaller. We'll say less than 2 anvils. What this means is if the number of anvils in my fortress ever drop below 2, then my metal forges are going to make 10 more. And that way I can always have some on hand to make workshops without filling up my stockpiles. There are some additional options up here on the top right. This one allows you to change the frequency. So at the moment, every day, the manager will check to see if we should start it again. I can change how that goes in case we don't want them to be checking every day. This option here allows you to add more generic conditions. So you can do it based off of the specific kinds of items you have available. While this one here allows you to trigger it based off of a different order being completed. And we'll talk about that a bit more when I cover circle orders later in the video. So now that you know the basics of how to use the work orders menu, let me give you some tips on how to make the best use out of it. For my first tip, I would advise you to set your limits on when to start orders to ensure that you have a little bit of material left over, just in case you get a dwarf with a strange mood. Well, first of all, I'm actually going to go to standing orders and I'm going to turn off automatic weaving, because one of the items that you need for strange moods is thread. Then I'm going to head to my loom here and I'm going to make a work order to weave thread in the cloth. And I am going to say in its criteria to weave 10 of them when the unused thread is greater than 15. What this means is that it's going to make 10 if it's 115, which means there will be 6 or more thread left over after the job. And because there's some thread left over, it means that if I get a strange mood and they need that thread, they'll be able to find that thread. For my next tip, it will always default to 10 in the requirements suggestions, but you might need more than one reagent per item. For example, if I go to say an iron breastplate requires 3 bars in order to make, but as you can see here, it recommends 10 when it should recommend 30 to make 10. My last tip is how to make a circular order. So, for example, you can see down here, I've got 3 orders: cloth caps, cloth coats, and cloth hoods. I don't want to have all of these go at once, because then I'm going to have to need 30 cloth stored up in order to have enough cloth to do all 3 of these orders. If I don't, then I'm going to get spammed with job cancellation errors. So I want to make it so that after they finish with the cloth caps, then they'll do the coats, then they'll do the hoods. So I'll go to the second one first. I'm going to open up its criteria and we are going to change it. Scroll all the way down and it's going to say when the caps are done, then do this. So you can see here now, we've got when that job is completed, and also we need to have at least 10. But again, we have to follow the advice from last time. We'll do if there's at least 15. Then we do the same here to the cloth hood. So we're going to hit this button here and we are going to head down and say when the coats are done. And then we are going to also make sure that we have that there is 15 plant cloth. And finally, we're going to go to cloth caps. And for now, we are just going to say the 15 plant cloths and leave it. What we're going to do is we're going to wait until the job has started. When this symbol appears, it means the job has been started. So when that happens, then we're going to pause. We're going to go back to this menu. We are going to edit this job. And then we are going to add the final step, the cloth hoods to it. And then at that point, we just right click to go back. And now the cap will start again once the hoods are done. If you change orders like this that are active, it's not going to stop the active order. So the current one will complete. And then when the manager goes to check to see whether it should start it again, it's going to wait until the cloth hood order has completed. One other tip involves infinite orders. So you'll see here, I said that I want them to smelt this ore infinity times. And if I check its criteria, I've set to start when these are both valid. One thing to keep in mind for this is only when it starts and it's not going to stop at all. So let's say if I do get to the point where I've got less than 10 limonite, it's going to keep on going even though it's now no longer valid. And also if I get to 0 limonite and I can't complete a single smelting action, it's going to start telling me that the job is cancelled, but it won't actually stop this order. Basically what's going to happen is the order is going to get reissued and a smelter is going to pick it up, and then they're going to start shouting at you because they can't do the job and it'll get spammed with errors. So typically you don't want to do infinite orders. I like doing them in this specific case because I use limonite for fuel and I would like to know if I'm out of fuel. So I have this as an infinite order for that reason. But in other cases, it's better to just have it make 1 at a time or make 10 at a time and just be started every day or month or season or whatever, rather than just having things go on forever and spam you when you might not really care that they can't be done. I hope these tips will help you manage your orders a bit better. If you want to see more guides like this, feel free to like and subscribe. You can also catch me streaming on Twitch 4 days a week, and you can check out any of the videos on screen right now.